I think of the community, judges and everyone in this room. For give me an opportunity to speak standing here. I am going to talk a little about globalization, but before that, I want to tell a short story. When I was a little kid, I used to play with the kids near my house. I played to a lot of traditional games with them. Some of them you might have already known, like Gobak Sodor, Engklek, Congklak, and many more. I had a lot of fun, even though I lost a lot, but then one day I went out to the field near my house with my friend. But when I got there and there was no one there, I take the weird leave. So I waited, and I waited. But I still nobody come. I was left alone. Now, all of you might wonder what made my friend suddenly different. Well, there was one thing when very popular at the time, and it's attract kids who love playing games. What it is? Yes, online games where you can fun while sitting on chair. Nice, it's not it, and it was brought in by the thing you call globalization. That story is tiny. That story is tiny example of what globalization has brought to our beloved country. Far beyond that, globalization brought many impacts. One of them is that Indonesia culture is brought to the edge of expansion. People start to think that Indonesia culture are out of date. They are moving the age culture that come along with globalization. But nowadays, people start to realize the big impact of globalization that brought in by globalization itself. People's minds are starting to change little by little. The main side, globalization, is bad for Indonesia start to grow. But, ladies and gentlemen, what if we turn the fact around? Look at this in the paper. What do you see? Do you see a black dot? Well, you see a black dot, but I see something else. Because I see is a black dot and a piece of white paper. Now, people often think the negative impact of globalization without saying the black space is hard without saying it's. In Arab, many salesmen use Indonesian language. Many of them are Madinah and Jeddah. In Australia, many schools have made Indonesian language as an obligatory subject in the curriculum. In Netherlands, many universities provide Sundanese and Javanese as their self-help department. In Africa, batik are widely produced and sold. Those are a few examples for the benefit of globalization toward of culture, and all of them happiness how we realize it so. So, what if we change the mindset of globalization from threat to a perfect change? America, Japan, and many more countries view globalization not only as change, but they already consider it as weapon in many sections. Now it is our turn to color globalization and stop being colored by it. All of this leads to a single question: How do we change a tree to be a perfect change? There are steps at starting from ourselves to the citizen of Indonesia and into the world. Brother and sister, if no food, fashion, fun, and film around the world have invaded Indonesia and the unconsidered by many Indonesians, then we shall know more. French fries and rendang have been monetized as the most delicious food in the world by CNN. Wayang has been claimed to be intellectual and heritage by UNESCO. Batik has been used by many people such as Bill Clinton, Queen Elizabeth, Queen Juliana, and even Nelson Mandela. To prove that Indonesia culture are color and we shall be proud of it. This is the first step. The second, we must make other people know this fact. We must gather together to remind our friends, our family, that Indonesia is rich of cultures. We are even rich than foreign countries. By doing that, we can relive Indonesia culture inside Indonesia. And then after all of that, we can finally use the change globalization as. We can globalization our culture, then it can be renowned around the world. We can our culture by showing in festival of just telling a little story about it. To that, Indonesian culture will enter other country and Indonesian will be under ledger in the world, and that our job Indonesian to make that happen. Thank you very much.